Boozed and Confused is a comedy and weird topic podcast. Adult language may be used, probably by me. While our episode topics may be educational in nature, we are not responsible if your children start dropping the F-bomb to their kindergarten class. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is the third time that we're trying to do this. So
Behind the scenes. It's three times.
See how it goes. I'm Carolanne.
I'm Matt.
And welcome back to another episode of Boozed and Confused, where I ruin it before it even starts.
How'd you ruin it?
Well, I don't know. I feel like my computer didn't update, and now everything is all... If the mics are super sensitive and, like, you can hear my nostrils, there's some sort of update on my computer. I think it affected the audio settings. We're just going to roll with it. We're going to see how it goes.
Ooh, you know what? Pause it. Let's take 4. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
You were going to pause it.
I was going to pause it.
Don't do that.
I'm very anal about the audio settings.
Quality?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But if you totally stopped recording here, this would be a one-person podcast this week.
That's fine. Okay, so you have another me episode. It's probably going to be pretty short. I don't know. Don't open it yet. God,
right,
can I just get through it?
Yet. You didn't ask
Jesus.
the question.
All right. So before we get into it, the housekeeping items, as always. And the first one, if you're on social media, you like social media, and you want to talk to us on there, you can talk to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube. We do still have a YouTube. Some of the comments, I don't know if like some of y'all are just sketchy, because some of y'all will leave comments and I'll see them, but then they end up like not getting posted, or like they end up like not being seen on some of the videos. So I'm wondering, gonna be honest, some of the accounts that I've looked at are like pretty hardcore conspiracy theorists.
Ooh.
So I wonder if like y'all are just commenting on the wrong videos and then your accounts get taken down.
Oh,
I don't know.
I want to see these things. You never show me.
I should have. We'll go through them. But if social media is not really your thing, I've definitely scaled back my social media. I think I was saying last week I like put timers on and like actually abided by the timers. Highly recommend for your own well-being. But if social media is not really your thing, you can send us an email at boozedandconfusedpodcast@gmail.com, and I do read them, and 5 to 7 business days sometimes.
If you have any NFTs or
Shut
suggestions
the fuck up about NFTs.
on what NFTs I should buy.
Matt was trying to sell his like 2018 McDonald's Szechuan sauce for NFTs on Instagram.
I was actually offered an NFT of that same Szechuan sauce.
Shut up.
For the real Szechuan sauce. So question is, which one's the real one?
Well, I'm not doing this.
I might just open the sauce and just eat it myself.
Ew. 2018, it's McDonald's, so it's probably still fine. Yeah, that's disgusting. Don't do that.
It's in my drawer.
I know what's in your drawer.
It's
like right
dresser
next
drawer.
to all of your shit from when we got married. It's like our wedding stuff, like your really sentimental like childhood stuff, and then your fucking Szechuan sauce. It's disgusting. Yep. All right.
Sentimental childhood stuff. Szechuan sauce. Wubba lubba dub dub.
So the next item is, if you like the pod and you want to support us, we're a pretty shit pod, but some of you guys keep coming back anyways, and I don't know why. One of my New Year's resolutions is to stop being so self-deprecating. I found that it's maybe detrimental. So we're a great podcast. And if you want to support us, the best way that you could do it is by following or subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you feel so inclined, leaving us a review. That would be really nice. I love reading the reviews from you guys, and it always brightens my day. So it's always super appreciated. And if you do leave us a review, take a screenshot of it and send it to us, and we'll send you some Boozed and Confused stickers for free in the mail. USPS, baby.
I'm going to say this can entirely be just, like, recorded and just played.
It's not gonna be. It takes away from the authenticity of it.
Authenticity.
That's what they want. Authenticity.
If we mail you something,
Haha, we're so relatable.
I'll also add in cat hair.
Yeah, it's almost guaranteed to have some cat hair because everything else does. So, all right. And the last item, what are you drinking?
Well, mainly water, but also...
It's a Guinness.
You know what? The other day I bought these White Claw thinking that, trying to lower the caloric intake and whatnot. Look at my carb intake. And so I get the White Claw Surge, which are like 8% alcohol, which is like, sounds kind of nice, but they taste kind of like crap.
Well, of course they do, because first of all, they're White Claw.
And then I saw that my Coors Light had less calories.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that my Guinness had even less calories.
So what you're saying is that you bought a bunch of White Claw on impulse, and now they're just going to sit in the fridge until the next time we have people over and you can count them into drinking them.
Oh, no. They're going to get knocked out. Just
that's disgusting.
Not during weekdays. This beer is only because we're doing the pod, and someone has to be drinking.
Yeah, I'm not because, well, first of all, it's 9 o'clock and I'm old. Oh, that's the other thing. We usually have the pod ready for you like Monday morning, 2 a.m. Central Time. We didn't do that. This weekend we had a very unhappy baby, and we kind of just prioritized...
Executive producer.
Oh, God, sorry. We had a very...
She hates it when you call her that.
We had a very unhappy executive producer this weekend. So we really just prioritized that, and then kind of wanted to die after she went to bed, so...
Ixnay on the AB Bay.
Yeah. Sorry. So that's why you're getting this episode Monday night / maybe Tuesday morning, depending on where you're at.
I think I hear her coming down the stairs right now.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
There
she is.
Producer, we're sorry.
All right, so let's get into it. This week, we're going to talk about Theranos.
Oh, I'm inevitable.
No.
You should have gone for the head.
No, not Thanos.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Not Thanos. Theranos. So you've probably heard in the news in the last week or so a lot of hubbub about Theranos, and more specifically its founder, Elizabeth Holmes. The trial just ended. She was found guilty on 4 counts of defrauding investors out of, I think, the possible 11 counts that were brought against her. And you're probably wondering, like, who the hell is this person? Why does she only wear black turtlenecks? Is she trying to be Steve Jobs? The answer to that question is yes. It was very bizarre looking at, like, the photos of, I wouldn't call it, like, progress, just, like, the timeline of her image. Definitely try to look a little Steve Jobsy. And she's as big of an asshole as Steve Jobs, so.
Yeah, well, have you seen the Jeff Bezos progression?
Which is more... Oh, are you talking about him getting...
He's reached his ultimate form.
God, why are you so obsessed with Beth Bezos?
You mean Daddy Bezos?
Ew!
He's cheeked up AF. He's thick Bezos now. He's thick Bezos.
I'm actually just going to end the pod here.
He's like Lex
And you
Luthor.
can take over if you want and just talk about Daddy Bezos.
Men I would call Daddy, part 1.
Oh, my God.
It's just me. It's like... Tobey Maguire.
Oh my God. Who else? The Rock.
Zach Braff.
Okay.
Beth Bezos.
All right.
But thick Beth Bezos.
Yeah.
Not like.
Not that weak Beth Bezos.
Not like garage book salesman Beth.
Yeah.
I mean like super yacht.
Yeah.
Ripped thick Beth in space Bezos.
Let me know when you're done. You know what? Actually, I'm going to tell you you're done right here.
You're done.
You're done. You're done.
Ron Swanson also.
So we're going to talk about Theranos specifically and like the rise and fall of Theranos. But before that, we'll talk a little bit about Elizabeth Holmes, who is like the CEO founder. The first thing I want to start all of this off with, because it's gonna just really set the scene. So Elizabeth Holmes, her dad was like an ex-VP of Enron. Just so everybody knows, her dad was like Christian Rasmus Holmes the Fourth, and he was a VP at Enron.
That's a great name.
And for anyone who's not familiar with Enron, I'm actually shocked, and you should go just look at the Enron Wikipedia for 5 minutes.
No. You'd be. How old was I when Enron went down? I remember, like in my childhood, Enron being all over the news, and I remember the logo with like the E at like a 45-degree angle, and that the guy in charge got in trouble.
Well, you know what I can tell you? It went defunct in 2001, December 2nd, so a couple months after 9/11.
Ooh.
Yeah, not a great year.
For Enron.
Yeah. So Elizabeth Holmes, she's born in like 1984 in DC. Like I said, her dad was ex-VP at Enron. So, well, I guess actually at the time of her birth, obviously, he was VP at Enron. Her mom was like a congressional committee staffer. So obviously, she's like getting pretty well set up in life financially. I feel like that's the equivalent of, I don't know, like my, like one parent has like a 8-figure job and the other one fucking sells butterfly wings on Etsy.
She paints rocks.
Yeah. So she goes on to start Theranos in the most rich person way. So she goes to school in Stanford. She's, it's like 2002. She's studying chemical engineering, and she works as this like student researcher and lab assistant in the School of Engineering.
Right.
And at the end of her freshman year, she works in this like Genome Institute of Singapore lab. She does all this testing for SARS-CoV.
What?
Through collecting like blood samples with syringes. And it's from this that she files her first patent application on this like wearable drug delivery patch in 2003. And that's like the entire basis of like her thinking sort of for Theranos. So 2004 comes around. It's like very early 2004. She drops out of Stanford, out of the School of Engineering entirely. She uses her tuition money as seed funding for this like consumer healthcare tech company that she goes on to create as Theranos.
So I don't know how much Stanford costs in
at least $3.
Early 2000s. Was it a small loan of
$1 million?
$1 million?
It was actually a shitload. So I think her parents had set up like an education fund for her, which is why I said the most rich person way possible.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, so she pretty much said, fuck school, I'm going to start this company. And she starts Theranos. So Theranos is founded in, basically 2003 by Elizabeth Holmes. The thing that made it stand out so much is she's 19 at this point. She's not even in her 20s. And she goes on to create Theranos, which was pretty much like a promise or this like device where you could take like one small drop of blood and test for like thousands of different things, whether it's like testing for rare genetic conditions or testing for, I don't know, like if you're pregnant or some shit. So that's what the entire basis of Theranos was. It was that you could just have one single drop of blood. She goes on to talk a lot about how the entire like basis of her wanting to do this is that she didn't like needles. She used to work in like a blood lab, so I don't know, kind of weird.
So how would you get the blood out without a needle?
It's like a little prick. One little prick.
That's what my students call me.
Shut up. So this whole idea starts when she's in school, And she's trying to, obviously, with her connection and where she is in school, she's trying to get people to like buy into this idea. And she keeps getting told like it's just not possible with like what you're trying to do. It's not physically possible to take one drop of blood and run like thousands of tests. It's just not going to work.
And then she was like, no one's ever told me no before.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. And so even like medical experts and professors were telling her the same exact thing. And she was basically like, you know what, fuck you guys. She gets her advisor and dean at the School of Engineering on board. And he eventually becomes like the company's first board member. And, you know, he is the one to introduce Elizabeth Holmes to the VCs, the venture capitalists, for money. So his name is Channing Robertson. And also something that's really weird that I've kind of wondered about, if you guys have ever heard her talk, she's got a very deep voice. And there's a whole separate conspiracy that
oh my gosh, wait. I've heard this before.
What?
That she's actually lowering her voice intentionally.
Yes.
Because there's a video of her in an interview where she like gets caught off guard and doesn't keep her voice low. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've heard of this.
Yeah, like one of her old colleagues from Theranos is like, yo, that is not her legitimate voice. She has a like more I don't know, a voice that's like more typical of a woman in her 20s. Or I guess 30s now. But yeah, that she like lowers her voice for whatever. And her family's like, nope, that's who she is. Very weird.
Her face reminds me, her face makes me think that her voice would sound like, who's that really famous actress who sells Goop?
Oh God, Gwyneth Paltrow?
Gwyneth Paltrow. I feel like they have the same voice.
Yeah, very similar. So late 2004 comes around and Holmes has raised like $6 million fucking dollars from people for Theranos.
That's not enough.
So she, you know, keeps chugging along. Fast forward to like 2010, Theranos has $92 million in venture capital, which is like a really good amount of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And so 2011 comes around. She's introduced to former Secretary of State George Shultz, and he ends up joining the Theranos board of directors. And she's recognized for forming the most illustrious board in U.S. corporate history over like the next 3 years from this. So she's like really building this amazing sounding company with a lot of people on board. Like, to even give you an idea of how far stretching the investors were, like Betsy DeVos's family was involved in investing.
And only Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, which is absolutely wild. So something else that was like kind of a red flag, she starts the company in the early 2000s, right? Obviously we have the internet around there. So she doesn't have like press releases. She doesn't have a company website for Theranos until like fall of 2013. They announced this partnership with Walgreens to launch in-store blood sample collection centers. Originally, they wanted to do this with like Safeway, the gas station. Didn't really work out.
No. Safeway was also like Dominic's.
Really?
Yeah, I used to work at Dominic's, and
I used to work for Dominic's.
It was the worst job of my life. One time they made me stand in front of giant glass windows during actual tornadoes.
Okay, so basically Amazon, but for only groceries.
But it's cool, since there was no one in the store, me and all the people who were working there just rode those carts around the store like Mario Kart style.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Amazing. That's what I would do.
So much fun.
So, right. So they get this like partnership with Walgreens in fall of 2013. She's interviewed like dozens of times. People praise her for being this like amazing, like reboot of lab medicine. And 2014 comes around. She's on like the cover of Forbes, New York Times Style magazine, Inc. Forbes recognizes her as the youngest self-made female billionaire, which also is just
Was
a fucking racket because her family's rich.
Yeah,
You're
was
not self-made. You have a shitload of money just waiting for you to go to school, and then you're like, actually, I don't want to. I'm going to start my own company with the money that was given to you. That's not self-made. Maybe self-made in the sense that I had $5. I took that $5. I put it into GameStop stock, and then I fucking cashed out when it was $300 a share.
And then I went and bought a used PS4.
And then I bought NFTs. I still don't know what they are.
Non-fungible tokens.
Yeah, you keep saying that, and I still don't get it. So, Forbes recognizes her as the youngest self-made female billionaire, ranks her on, like, you know, the Forbes 400 in 2014. And at this point, Theranos is valued at $9 billion.
What did they even do, though?
Like nothing. Valued at $9 billion, raised more than $400 million in venture capital. And I want to say, like, as this is going on, there's legitimate, like, people doing the blood tests, giving their blood over. The tests are being done. You know, there's like one story that I read where a woman did the test, and the test was pretty much like, oh, you're miscarrying. And she was not actually miscarrying her baby. Which is like, yeah. So, I don't know. You know, end of 2014 comes around. Her name's on like 18 patents, 66 foreign patents. She's obviously doing a lot. She's got really good connections. I don't doubt that she's smart. I think that she probably got way in over her head, and maybe was just a really good bullshitter. I don't know. So, she continues on like agreements, with like large healthcare companies for them to use the Theranos technology. And then the downfall happens. 2015 comes around. So when 2015 comes around, it comes out that there's a journalist out of the Wall Street Journal, goes by the name of John Carreyrou. Carreyrou. There we go. I fudged that up. Sorry, John. Who's been doing this like months-long investigation of Theranos, actually, because he gets this tip from a medical expert who's like, by the way...
Oh, no.
You know, there's like something suspicious about the blood testing device that they were using. And so, John goes on to talk to like whistleblowers from Theranos, gets company documents, which good for you, whistleblowers. And Holmes learns of this investigation. She starts this campaign through her lawyer to stop John from publishing this, which included a lot of threats, like legally, financially, against both the Wall Street Journal and the whistleblowers, which is retaliation.
It's like a counter smear campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you sure it wasn't Trent Alexander?
Yeah.
The Independent?
Yeah, maybe. No, isn't it Trent Arnold? No, Trent something? I don't think it's...
We're not really fans if we can't name this guy.
I don't know. Go watch Ted Lasso, guys. It's great. So October 2015 comes around. All these legal threats are still happening. And John goes, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm still going to publish this, which is great. And the publication talks about how this like Edison device is inaccurate. The results are like not correct or reliable. And talks about how the company had been using commercially available machines that were manufactured by other companies for most of its testing. And so he continues to report problems with the company, and talks about, you know, how Elizabeth Holmes is kind of problematic in this like series of articles that he does. And he ends up to put out this book that I feel like a lot of people have heard about at this point. If you have been following the story at all, it's called Bad Blood. It's actually on my list to read. It sounds really good. But he just talks about his investigation of Theranos. So Holmes comes out and she's like, no, this isn't true. I swear I've not just been defrauding everybody for over a decade and a half. She calls Wall Street Journal a tabloid. And she goes, you know what, here, to just show you that we're transparent, we're reliable, we're going to publish data on the accuracy of our tests. She goes on like Mad Money, which I know, I hate it. But she goes on Mad Money the same night that the article is published, probably to be like, look at us, not afraid, this is fake. And, Kramer goes, the article is pretty brutal. And she said, this is what happens when you work to change things. First, they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world. Girl, no, you just crazy.
She was so close, though. Mm-hmm. I bet her tests were like, yep, this is blood.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what I mean. Like, I think she's actually genuinely bright. I think she just got way in over herself and like probably couldn't admit when she had failed at something. Failed at something. God, I need to go to bed. So 2016 comes around and CMS, which is the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, sends this warning letter to Theranos because they inspected the lab that they had in Newark, California, and they found irregularities with like staff proficiency, procedures, equipment, and they have like a 2-year ban that they recommend on Holmes from ever owning or operating like a certified clinical lab after the company didn't fix problems, for like months after that report came out. And so she comes on to the Today Show and she's like, oh, I'm devastated that we just didn't fix these issues faster, and so that the lab would be rebuilt. They'd have like new scientific and medical advisory board on board and like, don't worry, everything's going to be great. It was not great. So 2016 July, CMS bans Holmes from owning, operating, or directing a blood testing service for 2 years. Theranos appeals that decision to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and Walgreens ends its relationship with Theranos, which, like, shockingly, I'm almost surprised that it lasted that long. I feel like Walgreens maybe would have been like, seems a little sketchy. And then FDA is like, you know what, why don't you guys just stop right there?
You're done.
So they had like a capillary tube nanotainer device that was like one of the core inventions for Theranos. A nanotainer. And FDA was like, you need to stop doing this. So 2017 comes around, state of Arizona files, the state of Arizona files.
The entire state. Yeah,
the entire state. Files a lawsuit against Theranos and says that it sold 1.5 million blood tests to Arizonans while concealing or misrepresenting important facts about those tests. Mm-hmm. How about like the fact that they were fake? Or just, I wouldn't say fake. I'm sure they could test like, yes, you are a human. This is
human blood. You have diabetes.
So later in 2017, the company like settles. They just refund the cost of the test to consumers, and they pay like $200,000 in civil fines and attorney fees, and it's like a total of like $4 million, which is nothing. Because remember, the value of the company was billions, and they had raised millions from investors. So there's also an unspecified investigation from the FBI to class action fraud lawsuits. She denies, again, any wrongdoing. And 2017 comes around. 99% of, not 2017, May 2017. So like almost mid-year. You can see how quickly this is declining. Almost 99% of Theranos shareholders have an agreement with the company to dismiss all litigation in exchange for shares of preferred stock.
Oh.
And so she releases some of her equity to offset dilution of stock value to non-participating shareholders, which really just screams, don't worry, everything is fine. So around the same time, the year following, 2018, the SEC finally charges Holmes and the former president, Ramesh Balwani, with fraud by taking more than $700 million from investors while advertising a false product. So this is like where the shit really starts to happen when the SEC stands in. Because remember, $4 million is nothing to her. Actually, that was probably the equivalent of like her education fund from her parents, plus maybe a little sum.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little sum. So they settled the SEC lawsuit. The charges of fraud included like the false claim that the tech was being used by the U.S. Department of Defense in combat situations.
Yo.
Which, how do you make a claim? Like, how big of balls do you have to make a claim like that and think that you would get away with it if it's not true? That's what I want to know.
I bet they were like low key, yo, let's make super like human mutants with their blood and make
it's that CRISPR technology.
Make superpowers.
So I guess for people who are not super familiar with how like raising money for your company works.
Oh, that includes me.
Pretty much what happens is you say, I have this product, this is my company, blah, blah, blah. We're expected to do X amount in revenue, or, you know, we've done X amount in revenue and we're expecting to do this much, because that you have to have like the data and sales and everything to back that up, but that pretty much shows like a little bit more confidence to investors. And so
like Shark Tank.
Yeah, it's Shark Tank. There you go. It's
like
freaking Shark Tank.
I like Mark Cuban.
You know, he seems like a good guy.
He seems kind of like a doucher, but like a guy that I would like.
Yeah, no, he would definitely order like a very expensive whiskey drink, I feel like, at the bar.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I guess not. So anyways, so the company, not only did they lie about their shit being used by the U.S. Department of Defense, they lied and said, oh, we have a $100 million revenue stream. You know, they said that in 2014. Actually, in 2014, they only made $100,000.
They made $10.
Not $100 million.
They just forgot to put the comma.
Yeah.
Couple places.
Yeah. So part of that settlement includes her surrendering her voting control of Theranos, a ban on holding an officer position in a public company for 10 years, and a $500,000 fine. What is with these bullshit ass tiny fines for these big companies that could pay a lot more?
It's
literally a slap on the wrist.
Stop doing bad stuff.
It's crazy.
Next time you'll be in real trouble, mister.
Oh, it is crazy. So, I guess to like maybe recap how quickly shit went down. Peak is in like 2014, 2015. 2015, the company has like 800 employees plus. They let like 340 people go in October of 2016. An additional 150 in January 2017. They filed a WARN Act notice with the state of California in April 2018, which lets go 105 employees. And at that point, they have less than 24 employees. And also, can you imagine being one of the 24 employees left? Either like you really drank the Kool-Aid or like they got some shit on you. I don't know.
Why not both?
And most of the remaining employees were laid off by August 2018.
There you go.
So so I don't know. I would have hated to stick around for that shit. But, you know, they finally dissolved starting like September 2018. And the remaining cash and assets get distributed back to the creditors, and investors try to just make back whatever they can. So all of that to say, obviously Elizabeth Holmes was just found guilty of 4 of the 11 counts of fraud that were brought against her in court. There's like a whole conspiracy that you brought up. So originally I think her trial was supposed to be last year.
And then she got knocked up.
Yeah, she got pregnant by her husband, right?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure she's married. I'm saying husband. It could be a boyfriend. I'm not sure. But she gets pregnant. Trial's supposed to be last year, and then obviously a lot of shit with COVID happened, and like courts are in and out, and it gets pushed to just recently, within like the last 4 months, and they just came to a decision within the last week, and she's guilty on 4 of the 11 charges of wire fraud for investors and patients, which is just absolutely wild to me. But
she was just doing entrepreneur stuff.
Yeah, hashtag boss babe. Hashtag be your own boss. Hashtag work from home. Hashtag not an MLM.
I'm pretty sure those are the mottos of LuLaRoe.
Yes. Oh, that's another really good documentary. I would highly recommend going to watch. Oh, I can't remember. Is it called the Rise and Fall? No. Lula Rich is the one that I watched. It just gripped me for a day and a half.
As she was wearing her LuLaRoe pants.
I only have like 2 pairs, and they're both gifts. It's fine. I think there's another one I'm going to watch called The Rise and Fall of LuLaRoe. But if Theranos is interesting to you at all, I know that there's a shitload of documentaries coming out. Actually, Amanda Seyfried? The chick who played the...
Mean Girls.
Yeah.
With the boobs.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's raining right now.
She stars as Elizabeth Holmes in a documentary. Yeah.
Good
A show.
Good for her. Good for her.
So,
she's doing great things.
Highly recommend going to check it out. But yeah, I mean that's really it. That's Theranos. That's like a really high level Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. This gives me hope for starting my own company.
What's your company?
We take your blood via osmosis, and we...
Can you explain to me what osmosis is?
It's when water goes from one place to another through a surface.
Okay. And you take my blood from that?
Yeah, and then I put it back into you, and it gives you powers.
What are the powers?
It's radiation poisoning.
Actually, it sounds like I don't ever have to go back to work.
I don't think you have to anyways.
Yeah. Well, this was great. If you were going to start a company that was going to defraud investors, what would you start?
Ooh, probably this company that would take blood from you via osmosis and then put it back into you and give you powers.
I don't think you're actually going to defraud investors because I don't think you have any investors.
I do.
Would it be the executive producer?
She's really supportive.
Yeah, I imagine she is. Just all your hopes and dreams.
She offered me all of her toys.
God.
Like the koala.
Oh, koala, kisses for you. Koala, kisses for me. Oh, God. Well, that's it. I'm going to go. Now that I've sung that song, I've now got the Moana soundtrack stuck in my head again. And that's it. I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. I'm exhausted. And it's only 10 o'clock. This is how I know I'm old as shit.
As you speak to your elder.
Shut up. Shut the hell up.
Don't speak to me that way.
Shut up. I have
Do
no respect.
People?
I have no respect for the elder. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I really love corporate conspiracies.
Yeah.
And boss babes that support themselves. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Theranos. Theranos.
We take
science.
your blood.
It's science.
Oh, God. They're basically vampires.
We're basically vampires. Theranos.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us this week. If you even made it this far, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. And
if they didn't make it this far, they wouldn't hear you saying that you don't blame them.
Yeah, I know. It's
You're
fine.
Just being self-deprecating.
I know. I should talk to somebody about that. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, hopefully. And goodbye.
Bye.